So today we'll understand the topics what we have covered till the date, and the new topics will be also seen. Okay. Something. Are you able to see my screen? Yes. So the first uh, thing which we started with as a tester, what we make sure is software is developed as per the requirement. Are you able to hear me, guys? Software is developed as per the requirement, and whatever we find a defect is generally a difference between your actual and expected result. Correct, right? So whenever we say we are trying to find the defect, we have seen different example making a test case to understand in a different way to having a particular input field expected actual and test. So we have, this is not a complete test case. Test case have some test case ID, test case description, test steps, prerequisite, input field, expected. So it will, I'll show you the different format of the test case whenever we'll building, right? Whenever we'll create a test case, we'll be able to see, we'll be able to follow the each and every columns where and what we have to fill. So, but in general, to understand a test case is nothing but a set of document which has few fields, input field, expected actual result to validate or verify the functionality. Here, the functionality is nothing but your addition. Addition is a particular functionality. So what we are doing, we are 10 plus 10 adding, we are adding the values. We are getting the expected result 20, and we are getting the actual result also 20. Actual result is nothing but your real calculator result. So ultimately, your test result pass, but anyway, if your test result fail, so what will happen? If your test result pass, we are looking for something, your actual and expected should match, it should pass, but if it is fail, if it fails, so what happens? You have to raise a defect or bug. Once you raise a defect or bug, you have to fix it. If no defect, as we said, we have seen quality will be better, satisfaction will be nice. So although things are under this, we are looking for a client satisfaction. We are looking for whatever we have, whatever the product or application is developed as per the client requirement. So hence we see software development lifecycle into different phases, starting from requirement till the feasibility study, design, coding or development, testing, installation and maintenance. So these are completely waterfall model like structure. Waterfall is something one after another. Water is falling from the top to bottom. So approach is top to bottom. So whenever it is coming, requirement after requirement, your feasibility will happen. Let's suppose you're trying to gather the requirement for 1 month. After next month or next 15 days, feasibility study will happen. After that, 2.5 months, your design will start. Design will go for 1 month or something. After 3.5 months in the project, you will start development or coding. But as it is waterfall, so you will not get a chance if any sort of changes or change in the requirement come in, you are not able to include in between. So that is the problem. But hence, we can see what methodology is there to our model. So as I said, waterfall and agile is a very popular models. Before years, the company were using waterfall. Still, some companies uses, but agile, 99% or 90% at least, companies are using or working on agile models. So we'll see the difference between agile and waterfall. Waterfall, we saw waterfall is something, the water is falling from the top to bottom. So it's everything happens after it is complete, it will come to feasibility study. Once feasibility study completes, design starts. Design complete, coding and development starts. So one after another, it's not likely parallelly it is happening everything around. It's not like that. So let's suppose, as I said, if any code changes or any requirement changes, so you are not able to include in this particular, SDLC model, in a waterfall model. And once your completely design development is completed, then you will do a testing. You can't test a new feature if it is to be included. We are planning to include, we can't include. So there is some drawback. If lot of studies says we had done the requirement analysis, that completes after we complete the feasibility study. So we can't include any new feature, new thing. So that is waterfall. But in agile, we can include if it is not included in this particular sprint or this cycle, this particular time, we can include on the next time, right? So we'll see what is the main difference. Agile and waterfall stage. It is an incremental approach. It is as a sequential approach, means it is top to bottom. As I said, once your requirement completes, a feasibility study comes. Once feasibility study, design comes, then coding comes. It is sequential, one after another. But it's incremental, means once your particular sprint is completed, the next sprint will come. It is in an incremental. In sprint, we can plan, design, code, develop, deployment will happen in a particular time period between 2 to 4 weeks, called it sprint. Once that particular 2 to 4 weeks is over, we can have another sprint. So it is an incremental process. Once particular sprint complete, next sprint it will start. After the second sprint, third sprint will start. So it is an incremental approach. If you say Agile is very much flexible in the sense, whenever something comes, as I said, a new feature or a change in the requirement comes. So it is very much flexible to adapt the changes. Okay. But in waterfall, it is very much difficult because it is a sequential design process. So it is not at all flexible. So if something is not flexible, so we don't recommend generally to implement in the project. So waterfall generally is not, it's getting rare in the projects, but again, it is a very old technique what we started developing our software in the software development lifecycle process. Guys, is that clear? Any doubt so far?
No, sir.
Okay, I can. Anyone else? Anisa, Krishna, Anuprakash, Prava, Rakesh, Swati, Balaprasad.
No doubt.
Okay, perfect. So we'll understand in a very deep. So very small things like flexibility. In flexibility, it is very much in the sense like we want to have a change So you can change the whatever the particular requirement change, different change in the process also can be implemented. It is much more flexible. So when you consider Agile considers a collection of many projects, so we can have a implementation any set of projects, whether banking, finance, non-banking, insurance, any sort of pharmacy, healthcare, anything, any project Agile is flexible. Agile can be used, but if it is a very small project, so no need of implementing Agile. Okay, Agile is a set of it needs a particular team. It needs a product owner. It needs a, set of team of developer and tester. Generally, we call it a Scrum team, uh, and likely Scrum Master is also get involved to understand to felicitate the different set of meetings. We'll see later on. Uh, so software, if it is very small, it is very useful in a waterfall. But if it is a big project in general in a real companies, Agile is much more used because it is very much flexible. It is having some uh, you know kind of a Scrum meetings. It has some particular sprint called time bound. So there we get a chance to include the changes and to implement and to deploy after the changes is complete. So this is anyway it is very much useful for long run projects, very complicated projects, but it is not. The software waterfall is not useful for the complicated and big and high end projects. Agile is flexible to do a change, but here there is no scope of change of the requirement. There is no scope. So Agile is also iterative process. Iterative is something one iteration, one release complete, it will go to next release. So Agile methodologies follow a iterative approach because of planning, development, prototype, development, deployment, everything. But whenever we talk about waterfall is not an iterative process. So if you have done yesterday, we saw software testing life cycle. In software testing life cycle, we start with requirement and then we go to test plan, test case design, execution, defect reporting, maintenance. So here, after requirement, we have a test plan. So test plan can be reviewed at every sprint, 2 to 4 weeks. Let's suppose we have a 4 weeks of a sprint. 4 weeks means it's around 1 month or something. So if 1 month we can have a change in test plan also, we can review whatever the plan we are at a particular sprint. We can do a little bit of changes on the test plan going forward. But here we can't discuss about the test plan. Test plan is complete. Then we start test case design, execution. Later on, what are the process? It's rarely test plan can be changed. Okay. So agile development process gives us idea or to to evolve, to expect to change and it'll evolve. So we have requirement changes, or test plan changes, testing processes changes. We can accommodate everything, but here we can't accommodate. Changes are can't be set or can't be accommodated. So if you come to agile methodology, testing is performed concurrently, is nothing but a parallel a testing or development. We can parallelly start doing this, but in waterfall we can't do any parallel testing or parallel development. Testing and development can't be continued parallelly, but here we'll see how you can implement or the kind of a testing and development, the processes will happen parallelly. We'll see that. So a lot of things, there is a risk, kind of interaction with client is very high in Agile to understand what kind of changes a client is asking for, any particular changes in the development processes, or anything can be accommodated, can be implemented, can be deployed easily. But in waterfall it is not. We have to, it's very limited. So team synchronization, team coordination also very limited. After 3.5 months, 4 months, or some days after, you will do a testing process. Till the time you'll be silent, or you'll be just going through the particular business BRT and the kind of SRS or whatever it is, the documents you'll be going through to understand that. So there is no such of work, but here it is a high-end coordination. We'll understand very small part of the project. We'll start development, we'll start testing, we'll do the deployment, we'll go to the next cycle. Here in the diagram, just a particular thing, it looks like this, Agile waterfall, the same concept we discussed. So here, if you see, this is your sprint one. Sprint is nothing called a time bound. So time bound is something, let's suppose this is sprint one, it is 2 to 4 weeks. It is a particular time bound, 2 to 4 weeks, let's suppose 2 weeks only. So what we'll do, we'll plan, we'll design, we'll develop, we'll test, we'll deploy. Deploy is ready to use the product, and it is review. Once review is completed from the team, from the product owner, or from the team members, then it is ready for launch. So it's a small cycle, sprint of 2 weeks or 4 weeks. So once it is deployed, once it is completed, it will go to next sprint. So everything, it starts with the same. Next month, let's suppose first month, we have completed January, we are in second month. So let's suppose January month, it is all deployment, product is launched. But the next month, we also do the same process, plan, design, develop. So whatever a big project is subdivided into smaller projects, and smaller projects can be subdivided, and hence we can plan. So this sprint can be planned, so called as sprint planning meeting. So there generally 4 to 5 Scrum ceremonies are there. The Scrum ceremonies are nothing but a sprint planning meeting. So sprint planning meeting says what kind of sprint and how many sprints will be working. 10 sprints. So around 10 months for this particular project. Daily Scrum is nothing but every day a Scrum Master will discuss about what is going on, what you have completed yesterday, and what we are going to do tomorrow. So kind of a daily meetings, or what kind of blockers or challenges you have. Since you have different Scrum activities, so daily Scrum also plays a very important role while performing these particular things. Okay, guys, clear? Any doubt so far? Any ceremonies or anything? So what we say, it is a particular Agile is having different frameworks. So Scrum is one of frameworks. So in Scrum we have different sprint. Okay, sprint cycles come with sprint planning meeting. One sprint planning meeting, we start with a particular meeting called daily Scrum. It happens every day to understand what is going on in the project, if any challenges, blockers, if any impediments it can be resolved, it can be fixed, and we can go on. Sprint review after completion of a particular sprint. Here you can see after deployment, a review happens. Review is to check whether you have correctly worked on your requirement, you have developed your software as per the requirement, you have tested, your test cases are ready, executed. Everything can be reviewed, not only from development end, from testing and also it can be seen. Test cases review, defect review, traceability, everything can be done. Sprint retrospective is nothing but a understanding of the sprint, what went well in the sprint, what went wrong in the sprint, and how we can improve in the particular sprint. Okay, so it's not only what is going on, we have to check what went well and what didn't go well as well, because both the side also sometimes it's not like we're 100% perfect and we'll be implementing everything 100%. It's not like that. We might be having some issues, some blockers, some challenges. So backlog refinement is nothing but a kind of a what kind of requirement we have. We'll understand the requirement, we'll process the requirement, we'll refine it. Wherever we are not able to understand, we'll connect with the people, we'll connect with the a business owner or a product owner to have a understanding. We'll get trained on whatever the particular requirement is there. So hence, here is a small process to check what is particular sprint is giving us idea. So sprint says it is 2 to 4 weeks. It is a time bound, and whatever sprint is there, it can be divided or it can be splitted in a particular meeting called sprint planning meeting. So considering first event as a sprint, and we have 8 hours per day. Okay, so we are going with the 2 to 4 weeks of every sprint planning. We plan of a particular sprint. If we plan for a particular sprint, sprint 1 looks like this, 2 looks like this, 3 looks like this. So in general, we'll be talking about a different sprint meeting, different meetings where once after your sprint is fixed. Let's suppose you plan for 10 sprint. Okay, in sprint planning meeting, we'll plan how many sprints will get involved whenever a software development process is starting. So as we discussed, daily scrum, it is nothing but a daily 15 minutes of discussion to check what is going on in the project, what you have accomplished already, what you have completed, and what you are going to complete, if any set of challenges or blockers are there. So Scrum Master generally felicitate the set of meetings. All the meetings are performed or carried out, right? So this all meetings like daily Scrum, sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, all meetings are being generally carried out by Scrum Master. So Scrum Master coordinates with the team, start with a daily Scrum meeting to understand for the things are going on in the project for at least 15 minutes. And sprint review is something, whatever it's complete, whatever your task has been completed for that particular sprint cycle, and it is ready, review is ready. So sprint review is generally happens with a one-to-one or something called in a team discussion. A demo happens actually. Demo is something, whatever you have done in the project. So you have to show it to your client that this is what the thing I have done. So can you please look into this? And if any set of inputs you want to give, you can give us so that we can implement the same. A product owner, everyone will come, check the particular process, understand it, So likely sprint review completes. Once sprint review completes, at the end of a particular sprint, a sprint review can happen in between 2 to 4 weeks. But once 2 weeks is complete, a sprint retrospective comes. Sprint retrospective gives us idea about what went well, what went wrong, and how we can improve. So different, it's generally more than 1 hour or 2 to 4 hours it might take to understand your sprint retrospective meetings, to check what is going well, what went well, and what went wrong. So these meetings are very really important, and in generally interview perspective, people ask, in general, nowadays testing means agile questions they'll ask, they'll check whether you know or whether you have gone through these trainings or the different set of meetings. Okay, so product backlog refinement is something also. It gives us idea about to check whatever your backlog is, how or any kind of trainings, any kind of inputs, any kind of understanding is required to refine the backlog. Okay, so this is nothing but a backlog refinement. And I showed you one after another sprint planning. When we say sprint planning, we start with a particular sprint. In a particular sprint, daily scrum happens. Between the sprint review will happen. At the end of the sprint retrospective happens. But backlog refinement takes place continuously, so as to understand your backlog or understand your requirement process. So these are generally a discussion about the agile processes. Also, we can get into the deep of things, but here, okay, so we'll later on we'll be getting into, but as much as interview is concerned, this much of knowledge is much more than enough to answer what are the questions are being asked. And if you want to implement, if you want to see how the things are being done, also you can implement in Jira sometimes later to understand what kind of processes are involved, ceremonies are being involved to that. Okay, any doubt? So people ask, what is the difference between agile and waterfall, right? So it is incremental process. It is a sequential process. After requirement, 1 month, the second requirement, feasibility study. So it is a very not a flexible process. It is a sequential design processes. It is not flexible as agile because of we can't implement any code changes, requirement changes. We can't implement it. We can implement agile in a different high-end projects, but waterfall model is very limited to small single project. So LBC, we can share you the notes, the recordings as well to go through once. So now, we'll see what STLC we went through yesterday. Software testing lifecycle is nothing but we start with the requirement analysis. We analyze the requirement. We start to plan the test. When we'll start testing, stop. When we'll implement automation manual, risk, resources, and your testing. So once your requirement is complete, test plan completes, then once test plan, your test case design or development can start. Once you start your development or test case design, you come up with a test environment setup. You understand in which environment you are going to deploy your software to test the application. Once your environment is ready and you start executing a test case, hence you see whether your test result pass or fail. Correct? So once we can see our test result pass or fail, if any set of test cycle closure we should see 100% whatever test cases we have completed as per the requirement, and we have tested and there is no defect. So only it is also say similar software development life cycle. We understand requirement analysis, test plan, test case design, environment setup, execution, test cycle closure. So this is all about your STLC models. Okay. And then yesterday we saw some tools get involved into doing some manual testing. And this is all the tools for automation testing. So we can plan, we do our plan on automation or manual. If manual, what we do, we have Jira and SPLM. Once we make our test cases ready, it is easier to for automation resources or the resources which working on automation can understand that particular manual functional processes, and will they start scripting on uh, you know uh, code or without code. The Tosca is a completely scriptless software, so you can just immediately start a automation on that. So effort estimation is very much important whenever we start testing a particular feature. So we should estimate this much of time will be required to complete the particular process. Okay, so effort estimation is very much important whenever we calculate the manual test cases, designing, execution, implementation. So, right, like that, the similar way, we will see what kind of manual testing, and as a tester, we have a responsibility to do a black box testing. Black box is nothing but we'll be able to see the functionalities, not we can't see the internal code structure. If we can't see, it becomes black to us. We'll not be able to see the internal structure, internal code. What is the code you have implemented? So it's divided into functional and non-functional. We discussed yesterday about functional means generally whatever a unit, a addition, subtraction, multiplication, division generally function. From function called functional, it has a unit, small unit. It is called unit testing. Let's say a calculator. Let's suppose a particular calculator, a calculator having an addition as a functionality. So it is a particular unit. Subtraction is another unit. Multiplication is another unit. Division is another unit. So testing a particular program or a set of program, it is called unit testing. So once you have one unit of addition, another unit of subtraction, another unit of multiplication being integrated, it is called integration testing. So once everything integrated in a particular system called calculator, let's suppose calculator has everything as a system. So it is called system testing. We perform system testing, and integration testing is generally this unit and integration done by the developer in an incremental, non-incremental approach, top down and bottom up approach to develop a particular software. But system testing is generally is done by a tester. We'll see how we can plan the system testing. But before that, we'll try to understand what is black box. So here, white box is nothing but your software development, and a developer can perform white box testing. So white box plus black box becomes the gray box testing. Gray box testing is generally a developer who can develop as well as can test the application called gray box testing. Okay, so any issues so far? Performance is nothing but load. We understood yesterday about load is nothing but a Netflix, a Hotstar, or anything you are seeing, right? A usual 1 lakh, 2 lakh people are watching. Sometimes a cricket match or a high level football World Cup are going on. the kind of the viewership increases to some crores. So there is some limitations. Limited people can come and watch. But if it is not much more than expected, it is become a stress to us. Okay. So scalability, we check how much scale you can give us, clarity also. So like that will be also involving to see everything, whether once everything loaded, whether the system is stable or not. Okay. So I think Navura has chatted a form. You can go through the form and just take a minute to fill the form and let us know. Once you complete it, will get started again. Okay.
Yes. Hello, guys. In the chat box, I sent the link for the Google form. Please fill it out. It will take you around just 1 minute. It contains your name, your contact, your WhatsApp number, and the email also. That's it. Please do it fast, guys. I got one response, Prabhakaran. Come on, guys, hurry up. It will take you just 1 minute. Please enter your name, your contact number, your WhatsApp number, and then your email ID. That's it. Okay, I got two responses, Prabhakaran and Anisha. Come on, guys, hurry up.
I think on phone also they can do, right?
Sorry, sir.
In phone, I think some people might have.
Yes. It's possible. Yes. It's just a Google form. That's it.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, I got three responses. Bhanu Prakash also did. Good. Krishna Vamsi also done. Hurry up, guys. Hurry up. I got five responses. Swati also done. I'm waiting for three more responses. I got only five. I think four more responses. Four more responses. What are the responses from Prabhakaran, Anisha, Bhanu Prakash, Krishna Vamsi, Swati? These people have filled the form only. Rest of you are facing any problem, please let me know. Anagha, I think Varaprasad, Devi Varaprasad, please fill it out. Rakesh Babali, please fill the form, Ashok. Please fill the form.
Sir, form I didn't receive, sir.
You can
In the
just
chat
paste
box, you
can
have.
paste the form again, yeah.
Okay, done.
Mhm. Also has given a
Okay. Now
Yes.
I got.
Yes, please fill it out. Why? Because guys, tomorrow is the last class for the free access. So they have to enroll the program. So I got the update from the management. So that's why I'm taking the details. And if you have any queries, any doubts, please reach out to me after the class. Okay, Anagha also did. Three more responses pending. I think from Ashok and Devi Varaprasad. and Rakesh. Yes, I got the response from Ashok. Two more responses, guys. Devi Varaprasad and Rakesh. Please do it, guys, as soon as possible. Rakesh and Devi Varaprasad. If you guys are facing any issue while filling the form, please do respond, guys. We are waiting for the 2 people. Okay. Okay. Previously, sir, you can continue. Those people are not filled out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try to see the black box testing as an approach. Okay. So we'll be able to see what is a black box. So here, if you see, white box gives us idea about what kind of source code we are looking into. So you can look into the source code and we can test the logic of the code. It is done by the developer actually, and whatever particular development happens, it is being once your developed software is, what is the next step? Its next step is nothing but your test development and testing. So development completes and then you do your testing. So black box testing and white box is nothing but a white box is completely into development. Black box is completely into testing. So that is what white box is being done by the developer. They do or check every line of code before they are deploying to the test environment. So it is only source code. What are the source code? What are the logic? Only they do a test. So what they do? They do a unit testing and integration testing. System integration test, SIT, only done by the tester. It is nothing but a black box. A black box meaning a box is black. Will not be able to see the internal code structure developed by the developer, but you will be able to verify the particular functionality based on the requirement. We say the source code is not visible while doing testing. We can't see the source code. What is the source code is there? It is the source code is developed. Source code is getting developed by the developer, not by a tester. Okay. So that is why it is black, because your source code, internal code structure is not visible to you. What next? Next is nothing but your type of black box testing. Your functional, non-functional, correct? As another was someone saying regulation. So we'll see detail into this. Functional. In functional, what are the type of testing? In functional, we have unit testing, integration testing, and system integration test. In non-functional, we have load, stress, underperformance, we have load, stress, security, scalability. So all of testing are non-functional kind of testing. Okay. So once you get into the details of black box testing, the technique, where what kind of techniques are there? We have different techniques. I don't think we'll be able to complete today, but we'll keep it for tomorrow. So we'll try to understand that black box testing techniques. There are different techniques. Okay, different techniques before we get into. So how generally manual testing is being performed in the project. So if you want to see how it is being performed in a particular environment, what is your environment where how a test and develop interacts to carry out this project. A developer will do the development. What they do, they'll deploy the software in a particular version control or something called Git. They'll do all coding, they'll do the compilation, they'll do the build the job, they'll deploy the software to the testing. And now a tester is ready for testing. Once a tester is doing, what is a tester responsibility? To make sure your application is developed as per the client requirement, as well as it has to find some defect. Defect is a difference between your actual and expected output. Once there is some defect is there, if there is some defect or bug, it has to be reported. Once bug is reported, we assign to the concerned developer. Developer will look into that. Yesterday we tried to understand the bug life cycle. Once developer fix the code, a tester will retest the code to see if the existing bug is not there on the system. So once tester confirms the bug is not there, tester can close the bug. Okay, tester can close the defect. So this is what the particular software industry or something, a tester and developer interacts to make sure the product is or application is developed as per the requirement. And hence there is no set of defect is there on the system. So no defect, as you said, quality is good, customer satisfaction, current client requirement is fulfilled. So we have different techniques to understand the black box testing. Okay, I think tomorrow we'll understand. Before we close, we'll just make that what are the techniques we have. Decision table is one of the technique. We have another technique called boundary value analysis. We have another technique called equivalence class partitioning. We have error caching. We have state transition testing. We'll see each and every one to understand what kind of testing activities, what are the testing types under black box testing to understand, to create the test cases, to implement the test cases, and also to make sure the application is being developed as per the requirement. Okay, and make sure there is no set of defect or bug in the bug left. If something left, we will work on it. We'll make sure that is not left in the system as like. Okay, any questions so far, guys? No questions? Okay, so tomorrow what I'm planning to do is to what we'll be doing is tomorrow we'll understand the very basic concept, the recap of the cycle also. Okay, so understanding is much more important when we see different things. We have covered different things, but as much as we recap, we try to understand whatever we have left off. That gives much more clarity. Once we will be sharing the things we'll be going through, so that you will have a much more understanding on this as well. Recordings are also available, so you can share to that anywhere. I don't think any issues. If any issues, will let us know tomorrow class. We'll get into that. Okay, just keep a note of your doubts, whatever you are facing. Okay. Okay. Agile methodology from interview perspective, this is we are ready. because whatever things we have completed, we'll understand again tomorrow about the sprint, different Scrum ceremonies, difference between Agile, Waterfall. It generally the questions being asked: what is Agile methodology? What is Waterfall? What is the difference? What are the Scrum ceremonies? What about your sprint? How many days of your sprint? How many weeks of your sprint? What is sprint retrospective? What is backlog refinement? What is sprint review? So all these things generally people ask you while going through a testing interviews. So as I said, different other models are RAD, Spiral, V, not at all required. Current industry, Waterfall, we are into real-time industry. Only Waterfall and Agile is much more enough. So development life cycle, we understood the development life cycle in different phases. Also, we saw one test case where we the test case got passed is nothing but there is no defect. If test case fails, means there is some defect. If test case fails, defect will be fixed to check the quality and customer satisfaction. So this is all about testing till now. Okay. Any doubt, guys? Just feel free to ask any questions, anything, anytime. Okay.
No, sir. Sir, recording classes are not visible, sir.
Which?
Recorded classes.
Recorded classes. Okay. Okay. Nagura will take care of that thing. Nagura? Current classes
Yes,
are
yes.
not visible. Just clear that out.
Yeah, well, actually, after taking the enrollment, we will provide the all recordings, PPTs, each and everything. These are the acts you guys have only access for the tomorrow itself. That's it. Okay. If you have any queries, please reach out to me and I'll call you later also. For any queries, please reach out to me. I'm sharing my number in the chat box.
Okay.
Yes, you will find my number in chat box. Please note it down and call me in your free time if you have any queries. Okay. Tomorrow is the last class for the free classes.
Okay.
Please do note of it, guys. And Monday onwards, you need to enroll the program. Then only you will be accessible for the classes.
Okay.
I hope it's fine, clear, right?
Yes, clear.
Yes. Anyone have any kind of questions? Please ask me, or else we need to end the meeting. Okay, then, guys. See you soon. See you tomorrow at the same time. Rakesh and Devaprasad, I think, not filled